Hello and welcome to the Anglican Flaneurs. Today we're in the City of London and we're going to be doing a very small walk down Lovat Lane. Lovat Lane is one of those historic City of London streets. It connects Lower Thames Street with Eastcheap, and we're now at Lower Thames Street just having a look around, and we'll soon start. We can see the famous church of St Magnus the Martyr, the old Billingsgate fish market, and we'll have a quick look down Monument Street at the monument to the Fire of London 1666. And before us on our walk we can see the famous pub, the Walrus and Carpenter. The name the Walrus and Carpenter is taken from a poem written by Lewis Carroll, first published in 1871 and appears in Through the Looking Glass. I believe that's the only connection to Lewis Carroll. I don't believe he ever visited this place. We can now see an inscription to the weather vane that we saw earlier in the vlog on the top of the tower, and it represents a Borley fishing boat. Whitebait was caught in this type of craft in the River Thames up until 1950. Backtracking for a moment to the story of the Walrus and Carpenter, it's a story of the Walrus and Carpenter meeting on a beach and deciding to go for a walk. They come across a group of oysters and the Walrus persuades them to come with them. The oysters follow the Walrus and the Carpenter, and they are eventually all eaten. The name Lovat Lane is recent. The lane was originally called Love Lane and was changed around 1939 to avoid confusion with the Love Lane further north of Wood Street, which we covered when we did the Gresham Street video, and that in Tudor times had a slightly more graphic name, shall we say, and was known as a place of prostitution. And because of the name Love Lane and the association of prostitution with the Love Lane we just mentioned of Wood Street, it's meant to have had a reputation for prostitution, but some people debate that point. The choice of Lovat was a nod to Lord Lovat, whose fisheries used to supply Billingsgate Market, as we mentioned earlier, at the foot of this lane on Lower Thames Street. As we walk up the lane, left and right, we can see some fine Georgian housing. Now, the lane over the centuries has had a reputation for housing some fairly wealthy individuals, and it's no different today. If you're looking for properties here, they are available to rent, but as you would expect, a fairly decent price. We're now approaching St Marriott Hill, which is the church on Lovat Lane, and I just like this little alleyway to the right. You can't get through there, but I bet it could tell a few stories. This church has a wonderful interior, but we can't get in there today. I will try and come back at another time and show you the interior of this church. It really is something to behold, but that will be for a future time. But don't feel too unlucky. This street is a real masterpiece in the City of London. And to our left we can see the wonderful bolt-off alley named after the church, St George Bolt-off Lane, which was just off Eastcheap. The church was first recorded in the 12th century and destroyed by the Great Fire in 1666. It was one of the 51 churches rebuilt by Sir Christopher Wren, but the church was finally demolished in 1904. St Botolph was the Anglo-Saxon patron saint of travellers. And there are 3 other churches in the City of London named after St Botolph. There's St Botolph's Aldgate, St Botolph Aldersgate, and St Botolph without Bishopsgate. And in our vlogs we have been to all 3 of them. The Church of St Mary at Hill was founded in the 12th century. The church was rebuilt interior and exterior by Sir Christopher Wren after the Great Fire of London, 1666. We're now less than 100 yards from Pudding Lane, so I doubt if the church would have stood much chance of surviving. The church survived the Blitz in the Second World War, but was severely damaged by a fire in 1988, after which its roof and ceiling required rebuilding. John Betjeman said of the church, "This is the least spoilt and the most gorgeous interior in the city, all the more exciting by being hidden away amongst cobbled alleys, paved passages, brick walls overhung by plane trees." Back in the day, Costermonger's Festival was held here each year in October. It also went by the name Fish Harvest Festival and Harvest of the Sea. But of course, as we said earlier, we're just yards away from the old Billingsgate market. We did a blog on Billingsgate Fish Market late last year. I'll include that in the link. And the next piece shows that in 1847, the church purchased burial rights in perpetuity in a small section of West Norman Cemetery. And that's one of the Magnificent Seven that we featured in a vlog in March of last year as well. And to our right, we can just about see a grand red flag for Venice that flutters overhead. It's a brilliant Italian restaurant and I highly recommend it. We're now coming out onto Eastcheap, and in front of us you can see the wonderful Gothic building 33 Eastcheap. I've featured it before in a video, and again I will put that in the link. And we're now next door to Eastcheap Records, another very good place to visit. So that's about it from the Anglian Flaneurs. I hope you've enjoyed this short video of just a gentle Thursday afternoon stroll down or up Lovat Lane. And we hope to see you again soon.